If you wish to understand and learn more about creating a political color, theme, and slogan, sometimes referred to as political branding, then this episode is for you. It's also very important to note that all episodes preceding this one were about the political campaign preparation, information gathering, and understanding the necessary campaign path for the candidate. Therefore, in this series, this is our first Get to Work episode. Let's start with color. So, if you look at a map of the U.S. regarding voters voting, usually they use only two colors, blue and red. Yes, I've seen the purple ones too, signifying mixed parties. But please remember that these colors are only associated with an affiliated party and their majority, not a political campaign per se. The point is that your color choices are valuable and have meaning. I found this color chart on the same website and I loved it. Now, I've never used it before, but I thought this could be useful to you. I'm not a solid subscriber of the psychology of color concept. You see, I look at color as somewhat changing and dynamic. What I mean by that is that political attitudes, population, demographics, socioeconomic structures, and a political district are always changing and evolving, and your choices should reflect this. But the purpose of this color goal is for you to develop your overall campaign, and be sure to always keep in mind the following. As a printer, I can tell you that spot colors are standard single colors, which serve you best, as they will work in all areas of material applications. For example, flyers, mailers, cards, signs, web, apparel, and promotional items. Basically, all forms of materials and substrates. The minute you go to a full color or a CMYK or an RGB system, your whole color theme and slogan, well, that's where your difficulty or your limitations will begin. So try and use no more than 3 colors to its best, not only for production, but also for cost as well. Ultimately, you can do the web and get some ideas and help, but here is how I approach my campaign. Number 1, each campaign will invoke a color of its own, like a Congress or federal office would be red, white, and blue. Example, this combination of colors should be 2, with white being the absence of a color, giving you 3. B, school board offices, I might use red and green or brown and black, representing the apple or books. C, a city council may use the city colors or a prominent venue in the city, like a sports club or even a city logo. D, water districts, I would use variations of blue and lots of images of water. E, judges, possibly gold and black, scales of justice, etc. F, supervisors, county logo colors with some spice. And G, state offices, well, a state flag or logo colors with also some spices. Now 2, I may also add a graphic to my color to increase the impact. Outline of a flag with colors, red and blue, white again being the absence of color, an apple using red and green, water symbols with a color wheel of light blues, justice scale and gold and black. So let's just move on and say we're going to use red, white, and blue. Now let's move on to the theme. The theme is basically the campaign or the candidate's central unifying label or description, like old, tired, and weary. Okay, not really, that's me. We need to go back to the vetting and intelligence gathering episodes. When I performed the interview, I'd gathered some information on the candidates or campaign and their opponents. And then again, in the intelligence episode on the matrix. So let's do a scenario. Hopefully this will help. Let's compare our candidate and opposition 1 candidate. Us, in our 30s, married with children, educated with a college degree, no experience in politics. Our message might be family, vision, and change. Them, they are in their mid-50s, divorced with children, and grandchildren, no education, and in politics for 25 years. Their message might be experience, leadership, proven. Actually, there's a whole lot that goes into finding these words. Sometimes it's about countering the opposition and or countering the opposition's attacks on you. Either way, this whole episode can enter a far more in-depth process of choosing which is the right phrase. As I stated in my goal, this is not a step-by-step process, it's simply an outline. I've seen consultants that enjoy using focus groups to make all their suggestions or choices. Well, not a bad idea. In my opinion, it just takes way too much time, and I believe that the consultant should have their finger on the actual pulse of everything in the campaign, from their candidate to the opposition to the voters. Here, I'll focus on my definition of the slogan. Vote for me and I'll set you free. Just kidding. Kind of, sort of, maybe in a little way. So let's recap. Where are we at this point? Well, we have red, white, and blue. We have family, vision, and change. Now use this as our foundation. Let's develop our slogan. For the most part, we want is a sentence, albeit a short one, but still a sentence or a statement. Here are some examples. Building a future for our families. This one invokes hope and family, with a slight suggestion that the opponents do not. Your choice for our families and future. This one invokes family and hope, with a slight suggestion that the opponents do not. A leadership with integrity for our future, while this one invokes honesty and change, with a slight suggestion that the opponents are not. Now, please take note that none of these established without the vetting and intelligence gathered. And if you do so, then you're not doing it right. So in these examples, it's also important to look at how a slogan can act like a double-edged sword. It can impact both the voter and the opponent by lifting the character of the candidate while innately pushing down the character of the opponent at the same time. Another non-relative set of slogans. Time for change, Barack Obama. Make America great again, Donald Trump. I was visiting Portugal recently, and one candidate was using just a single word, enough. Now let that sink in for a little bit. Not a short sentence, just a description of anger and frustration. Sounds familiar? Let's do a quick summary, since from here, we're going right into working on the campaign. So here is a final potential outcome. Color red, white, and blue. Theme, family, vision, change. Slogan, your choice for our families and future. Essentially, this is what I normally shoot for. Of course, after all the preliminary work has been completed. 1. Colors, with or without images, invoke feelings and emotions. 2. Themes invoke meaningful or memorable words. 3. Slogans invoke an overall message of the campaign. From here, I will complete my image package for the campaign, and we're off and running. Keep these 3 areas static and non-changeable. In other words, once you establish them, do not change them, because once you choose your CTS, your color theme slogan, it is when your campaign begins, afterward your first job, which will be to build your image package. Now, honestly, I've seen it when candidate 1 is in campaign 1, and then when they move 4 years later to campaign 2, they may change their CTS, their color, theme, and slogan. This is not unwise, as they would have gained experience, and now they know the impact of their first choice. I've also seen candidates that have kept their CTS, their color, theme, and slogan for decades and longer. Think of it like this. Once a voter likes a candidate, then they will see the colors, theme, and slogan as their candidate, which is a sign of a good branding structure. In some cases, voters who abstractly see a color, theme, and a slogan will know who the candidate is, even without seeing the name. For example, in these business slogans, do you know what the company they represent? The Golden Arches, home of the Whopper. Where's the beef? Okay, don't worry, that one is more of a generational thing, so my apologies. Hopefully you get my point. One last caveat. What have I not shared with you is that I personally use AI, ChatGPT or POE. Now, the rapid growth in this area seems to excite some and bother others, hence my lack of in-depth explanation. But for me, it is understandably valuable, especially when I dive specifically in the exact city, district, and area. So keep your minds open. If this was helpful, please hit subscribe, like, and notifications. Also, buy me a cup of coffee would be greatly appreciated. And if it goes well, I hope to develop a subscribers area and access for more private and detailed information. Thanks for joining me. See you in the next episode. A su servicio, at your service. Cesar Juan.